What's up, guys? I got the chat open. Hold on. Or I'm pulling up in the chat. Yeah, today's the day. Getting set up. Here we go. Here we go. 1 second. I actually might even play it again. I might even play it a second time. Here we go. Yo, what's up, Will? What's up, Jay? Johnny, what's up, dude? Out here on Coco Crater. Attaboy. What's up, Tyler? Tyler, I went ahead and made you a panelist, bro. Mark, good to see you. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, you guys go ahead and just drop some love in the chat if you haven't already. Get familiar with our systems here. I'm pumped. Got Franny, Deborah. Nice, nice, Deborah. Good to see you on. Mike, what's up, dude? Nice. There he is. Kelly, good to see you. Sean, gotcha. Got some familiar faces, some new faces. Dakota, what's up? Let everybody get it. Just hit the top of the hour. We had quite the turnout for this webinar. So let me go. All right, let me send out another quick reminder. There we go. Yeah, guys, as you're coming on in, drop some love in the chat so I can see your name, see your face. Virtual, there we go. This song always reminds me of Gone in 60 Seconds. Same for me. Actually, I'm probably going to watch that movie today. Let you guys get rocking and rolling. All right. Okay, I'm going to send out a quick email. I'm going to step out for 5 seconds and I'll be right back. All right. Okay, let me close off my screen here. Even though that is one of my favorite songs. Guys, good to see everybody jumping in. Chanel, Catherine, good to see you. Annabelle, Ron, what's up, my man? Got some Conquer Academy OGs in the house. We got some new faces in the house, so that's good. We had a good registration list, man. We had about 130 different people sign up for today, so I'm excited, guys. This is going to be highly interactive, but I am going to be respectful of your time too. So I'm going to come in. I talk fast. We're going to rock and roll, and everything that I'm going to talk about today is going to have practical steps. I'm an action-based person. I hate it when you jump on some training. Like, I didn't even want to call this a webinar, because most webinars you jump on them and it's a bunch of fluff. It's no real like action steps. You know what I mean? Anybody ever participated in something like that where you jumped in and it was just one big like motivational thing, but you left like, man, I don't even know what I should go do now. This is not going to be like one of those. Okay. I tend to zig when they zag. And I imagine a lot of you guys do too. Um, yeah, Jay's saying it right now, big time in the financial world. Just about every meeting online and in person. Yeah. See, Mark's nailed it too. All right. So this is not going to be like that. If this is the first time that you guys have jumped in on something where I'm presenting, I'm, like I said, an action-based guy. I'm very, very tactical, very granular, and I'm excited to go into today's topic for you guys. Let me hit some housekeeping notes and level some expectations, kind of put out the format out there, and we'll get rocking and rolling. The first thing is I want to get to know everybody here, and just so you know that you're in the right spot. Today's webinar, this training, I'm not going to say webinar. Today's training is how to build a team of self-sufficient A players. Okay, so how to build an A team. And the stuff that I'm going to talk about today is going to apply and work even if your team's remote, lazy, or family. Okay, whether you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or maybe you're on active duty military, or maybe you're a single mom and you got some kids. It's going to be useful stuff for you if no matter what size your team is. Okay. So what I'd like is if you guys would drop down or in the chat over here, just tell me where you're logging in from, what state are you in? And the reason why I asked that question is because I've traveled all over the world, really. The military tossed me around a lot. And it's really a way for me to connect with people. I love to see where people are calling in from. Cool. Savannah, New York, Utah, San Francisco, Oklahoma, Rhode Island. Yeah. Yay area. That's right. Actually, so I'm actually from the Bay Area. My parents are. And then I grew up in Northern California in a really small town. Colorado. Yeah. Good. Fort Lauderdale. Cool, guys. Yeah. I just want to keep the chat warm and keep you guys, let's get all loosened up. Mike Tyson said it. He said a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. So we all perform at our best when we're loose and when we're rocking and rolling, right? So what you guys have ahead of you is we're scheduled for an hour right now. My plan is to present and teach you tactics and strategies for the first 30 minutes and then open up for a Q&A at the back end. Okay. There is a Q&A box. So if you want to make sure that your question gets answered, drop it in the Q&A box as we go, because comments will essentially clear out the questions that get asked inside of the chat. So save your questions for the Q&A box. I would recommend having them off and on the side, writing them out as you go. And then when I open up for Q&A, drop them in. Essentially, that's probably be a good way to do it and get in and get your question answered. You can put whatever you want in the chat. Chat's fair game. While I'm rocking and rolling, I can either move it off my screen or I can feed off of your comments. So the chat is fair game if you guys want to utilize that. And then the last thing is, that's it. Let's just get the energy going. Let's get rocking and rolling. What got us here, guys? I want to so the backstory, what led us up to this training that you're stepping into. I find that all great leaders, they tend to learn the history of the team that they're serving. They don't go in blind and try and just teach and lead right out the gate. They try to they talk about the road to war essentially. So what got us here is that, I decided to put on this training because I've been getting hit up with a lot of different people and people leading teams that are struggling with really leadership challenges. And what I'm seeing is a lot of people that just want to be around winning teams. They want to be around other people that are striving to succeed. And typically these same people are seeing problems with, maybe team communication. They're seeing problems with poor performing teams or teammates, maybe. And if it's not in a business environment, maybe it's friends, poor performing friends. I'm seeing people that are challenged leading remote teams, which is essentially decentralized command. Okay. Maybe a business owner that has moved to a remote system and he feels like he doesn't have any control. So it seems like a lot of people right now are struggling with the team aspect of leadership, with leading a team, with all the changes that have been going on in the world. And I'm honestly, what I'm seeing is a lot of leaders starting to believe that A teams are a myth or they're a happenstance. Okay. And so I want to ask you guys as we get into today's talk, do you think that A teams are born, like manifested? They're created by happenstance, by luck, or do you think that they're made? Just out of curiosity, made or born? Built, made. Good. These are good answers. And if you're honest, if you think that they're just a happenstance, that's fine too. Be honest, come forward with it. I want to hear it. But yeah, the reality is that best teams are made. Consider the best football teams that are out there, the best basketball teams, even elite military units. They're strategically assembled. Okay, strategically assembled and cultivated. And they're made even if you don't have the budget or resources to create them. It's true. So I'm going to take everybody to school here. I say that with humility. I'm going to take you guys to school and teach you how to create some A teams. All right. I've been sharing these lessons recently with a wide range of individual entrepreneurs, family members, leaders and families. And one of the things that I've been focused on a lot when I'm teaching these individuals how to build high performing teams is to focus more on the ecosystem. Okay. The environment that builds the team, essentially. Is everybody familiar with ecosystem? So an ecosystem is where life is created, right? It's where, the Amazon rainforest is an ecosystem. There's tons of humidity, tons of heat. So you get tons of vegetation. The Sahara Desert is also an ecosystem. It's kind of harsh. And as a result, not a lot of life form there. So what we want to do as leaders in our environments is we want to level up that ecosystem. Okay. We want to level it up and then be an architect essentially of it and a designer. So improving our ecosystem is a way for us to create the self-sufficient A team. All right. I'm going to break that down today. Some of you guys, a lot of you guys do know me, but for some of you guys that don't, just real quick, I grew up, Jeremiah Sullivan is my name. And I grew up in a really small town. I grew up low income. I don't like to say poor, but because we had food, we had a home, but we didn't really have the luxuries and the abundance that some people have, right? My dad actually used to hunt to put food on the table. I was small, shy. And then through all that, I was basically the kid in class who, like, if you called on me, I would turn flush, man. I would get so nervous. I'd want to hide out. Right. So I didn't really have this. I wasn't born a leader, but my career in the military essentially transformed me into one. I became an infantry company commander. I was a Ranger platoon leader in the 75th Ranger Regiment. And then I'm also an entrepreneur. And I think did I say infantry company commander? So yeah, a company is 130 infantry soldiers. So I've led everything from 2 to 3 man teams all the way up to 130 soldier units. And then even that company, I led it with decentralized command. So I had 4 platoons doing 4 different things overseas for 9 months. Pretty crazy. And we performed very well. We were ranked among the best inside of the brigade. Actually, we were ranked the best. So that's who I was in the military. And then today, now I'm a coach. I help other people, other leaders with their teams, themselves. I help people reach high performance. I help them become the best in their field. Okay. And I say that I wasn't born a leader, but my whole life has really revolved around leadership. And just a quick confession, or announcement is when I was younger, so I had 3 brothers growing up, and I was given the responsibility and I take care of them, right? My oldest brother is special needs. And so I'm the second oldest, but with 3 brothers and an older brother with special needs, I was charged with taking care of everybody. So my leadership development has really been going on my whole life. And early on, I tried to avoid it, but it was just something that I couldn't get away from. And so through constant pressure and development, I've learned these strategies and these tactics to essentially influence people and build out really powerful teams. So the stuff that I'm going to talk about today comes from it comes from tacit knowledge. It comes from experience. It's not stuff that I read out of a book. I mean, I do read a lot and I study a lot, but most of this is coming from personal experience. On the performance side of what I do in my profession, okay, I specialize in peak performance. And a lot of that comes from serving in special operations. It comes from the 4 deployments that I've had, how to, managing work and a home life during those. My performance strategies come from having those four platoons I had as a company commander, managing all those and still operating individually at a high level. And then on the fitness side, I do a lot of stuff that demands peak performance too. I've ran 103 miles. I've done some cage fighting, and I even wrote a book on deployment. So when it comes to time management, productivity, leadership, these things are within my wheelhouse, and I speak from experience on them, and that's where this is coming from. Guys, if I say something here that you don't necessarily agree with, what I'll say, and a little disclaimer, it's far less important what I say here today, and it's far more important how you communicate it to yourself. Okay. Like, I'm going to teach a certain thing today, but how you interpret that information is far more important than the information I actually give you today. Right. If the whole time you're like, this is dumb, then it's gonna be a waste of your time. But if you're like, okay, I can use this and tweak this, this is great, you're going to come out better. That goes for everything in life. All right. It's how you frame the situation that matters. If you guys want to learn more about me, you can just go check out my podcast. I'm not going to bog us down with that information. Okay. So today's topic, how to build a team of self-sufficient A players. And this is going to work if they're remote, lazy, or even family. We're going to answer these specific questions: how to get your team to commit and stay with you even during rough patches, how to get them to hunt, basically be aggressive, take initiative, and go above and beyond, maybe like posting on their social media if you're a business owner, how to clone your A players, how to replicate them. We're going to talk about how to get your C and B players, the people that are middle, average or below average, to level up. We're going to talk about how to create decentralized command. We're going to talk about how to create an organization of effective communication. We're also going to talk about how to prevent some burnout. Maybe a lot of you guys are dealing with teams that are burnt the hell out. By the way, I might curse a little bit if I get fired up. If that offends you, I apologize. Just know that I mean it with professionalism. Okay. So I've answered all of these questions, and a lot of the reasons why you guys signed up is to get answers to those questions. I've answered all of them with a checklist that I'm giving to you today. Okay. This checklist is called the Solvens Commander's Guide. That's what it is. It's Solvens Commander's Guide. Basically, my guide for people that want to operate and lead teams like a company commander, an infantry company commander. Okay. Essentially, it's a task list of things you should be doing as a leader. And even if you have a small team. Okay. It's a task list for building and sustaining high performing teams. And I have to tell you guys why I chose to host this training, other than what I was hearing from friends, clients, and peers. I have this obligation. I have an obligation to serve others. Okay. And it might sound kind of weird, but it's true. So a lot of the things that I'm doing now with Conquer Academy and then even this webinar, it comes out of fulfilling that obligation. Okay. And the reality, the honest truth is that I'm here because, I was sitting down writing, like, why am I presenting? What's my why behind delivering today? And I wanted to feel it. And the honest truth is that I have some guilt. Okay. I'm carrying essentially leader guilt. And, my military career was great. I had a lot of fun, accomplished some great things, but I did have some failures. And, one of my failures was I was a Ranger platoon leader, and I led this mission, this high value target raid overseas, and several of my guys got hurt. Okay. US got hurt. The partner force that we were with got hurt. Nobody died, but the next day after that mission, all my leaders had Purple Hearts. Okay. We had gotten into a giant gunfight. We had ended up with a barricaded shooter that was throwing grenades down on top of my team. Okay. It was a giant compound, and apologize. This is always really tough for me to get into. But we get in a giant gunfight. We were supposed to go in and capture this bad guy. And we ended up having to withdraw from the objective because we were so combat ineffective and we had so many guys get hurt. But there was a miraculous thing that happened that night. Under direct fire, under machine gun fire, under grenades being thrown down, my leaders, my team, my Rangers, those guys that I was serving alongside, that I was honored to be with, those guys, the bad mothers, they didn't quit. They had a non-stop, no-quit attitude. A grenade came down. People were running towards the gunfire to go help the people that got wounded. I had a platoon sergeant that saved one of the partner force that night who got shot in the chest. He pulled him out of a building where he was exposed to gunfire from about 20, maybe 20 feet away. Okay. The guy was spraying down assault rifle rounds on top of him while he was trying to rescue this guy. And he pulled him out. So that night was really rough, man. And you guys, I call it my last Ranger mission because it was. So I saw that mission essentially as a failure, and I still struggle with it. And while I've come to terms with it and nobody died, I feel an obligation to share the lessons that I've learned inside of, with leadership performance, to prevent other leaders from making a similar type of mistake. If I would have been better that night, my guys wouldn't have gotten hurt. If I would have been better, they wouldn't have gotten hurt. That's the fact. If I would have planned better, prepared better, done something better, they wouldn't have gotten hurt. If I would have just elevated the team just a little bit more, could have done a better job. And so I'm here out of obligation for redemption. Okay. That's why I'm here. Selflessly, I'm here to make your teams better and kick ass. So let's do exactly that. I'm a very visual person, so I want you guys to picture the model that I'm going to teach you right now. Okay. The model that I'm going to teach you is essentially a conveyor belt for producing high performing teams. Okay. You start out on the left side of the conveyor belt, you put down one item, it goes through the assembly line. And what happens? Maybe you're building a car. You start with the engine and out comes the car on the other side. High performing team comes out. So this is a conveyor belt. But it's going to be like a really nice car, like a Lamborghini or something, right? So to create this team, you have to understand that you need a conveyor belt to produce them. And then you also have to understand that what's stopping the current team from leveling up. And most of the time, the current problem of B players and C players, this exists because there's no system in place, no process for developing, acquiring people and producing them. The process essentially for a lot of leaders building their teams is judgment. Okay. Like a lot of business owners will sit there and say, hey, do I need to hire somebody? Who should I hire? Well, who's available? And they use their judgment to pick that hire. There's no process a lot of times. Same thing with our friends. Use your judgment, right? So relying on in the moment judgment favors making emotional decisions, which is really, really dangerous, to be honest. You think about it like with food, right? Like if I'm starving right now and I'm thinking, how do I solve this problem? Well, let me just go eat some chips real quick. I won't be hungry. Well, that's a recipe for low performance, right? So over time, that can really weigh on you and be a really negative force and a really negative habit. And I want you guys to sit back now and ask yourself, are the people that you've surrounded yourself with around you by happenstance? Or have you been an architect in designing your ecosystem and placing them there? Okay. A mentor of mine was trained by the infamous Zig Ziglar. You guys ever heard of him? Right? He was trained in person by Zig Ziglar. And he told me that if you plan and prepare, you can expect to win. So if we want self-sufficient A teams, we need to plan and prepare to create them, which means we got to attract them. We have to retain them. And then we have to build a culture around them that continues to reinforce the environment that we've built, right? Now, here's an argument that I get a lot when I'm talking about building A teams, especially from people that kind of have maybe a little bit more of a victim mentality, or business owners that feel like maybe they're set up, they're not in position to build an A team. I did a post online the other day. I said, hey, it was essentially an Instagram post that said, if you want to attract A players into your organization, you need to become better. Okay. And this guy, he said, how do you get A players? How do you hire A players if you're strapped for cash and you have to resort to B players? Okay. So the common argument is I need to be able to pay A players to get them. And that's false. It's a lie, hands down. And this obstacle, if this is your challenge right now, this is what I call a mind knot. Okay. A mind knot is a negative way of thinking. It's a pattern of thought that keeps your brain in basically a pretzel. So we need to untie that a little bit. It's a negative belief. So I want to challenge that belief because here's an example of why pay isn't directly tied to top performers. Look at the military. All right. Look at special operations. You get some of the best people in the world that get paid complete trash to go and serve in this organization, sacrifice their time, go live overseas. And granted, the country does take really care of us in a lot of ways, a lot of support and patriotism, but really the pay is shit to be completely transparent. Right. All right. So, but they still sign up and they still go and serve. So A players find the best units. They still find a way to fulfill that. Okay. For example, I had some guys when I was a Ranger platoon leader. I had a guy that was in his mid 30s, low 30s, who made it to the Ranger Regiment. He gave up his Fortune 500 job and salary. Okay. This guy is mid six figures, gave it all up on his climb to seven figures, right? Gave all that up to join the 75th and be in that unit and get paid a couple grand a month, full time, work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Okay. Here's another example. Pat Tillman. Pat Tillman played in the NFL. All right. He gave that up, joined special operations. Unfortunately, he was killed in combat. God rest his soul. And another fun fact, he was actually in the exact same company. He served in the attack company, which was the same company I served with in the 75th. Little interesting fact. So how do you create an A team since we know that that's bullshit about pay? The solution is Sullivan's commander's guide. Okay. There's a checklist for the CEO or the team leader who wants to execute and build teams like a company commander. And there's going to be 7 tasks that you need to do to create an A team. 7 tasks. Okay. I'm going to go through these right now. The first task under Sullivan's commander's guide is take command. All right. The first thing that you need to do when you want to build a high performing team is you need to step up and take command, which means assuming the guidon. That's the first thing that a company commander does when he takes over an infantry company. There's a big ceremony. He walks up, he grabs the flag that they typically carried into battle and, throughout history. He assumes that. He says, this is mine. I'm taking command. You need to take command, whether it's of your life or your team. Okay. The guidon, if you're not familiar with that, it's a unit flag. You guys have probably seen it in movies before, where soldiers are carried into battle. All right. This lesson of taking command applies to your family too. You need to run. If you don't have a team at work, you need to run your family like a company commander. Take command. Okay. And when you take command, you take the guidon, you assume responsibility. Part of taking command is getting clear on your mission, your vision, and your philosophy for the company that you're assuming command of. That was one of my first steps as a company commander. What's my mission? What's the vision for success? And what's my philosophy that we're going to use to get there? Okay. Do you have that clarity with your family, with your coworkers, with your team at work? Maybe you got multiple companies. Is it clear per company? Okay. So your mission is really simple. This will be quick. but your mission statement is a single sentence that describes what you guys do and why, right? Like the infantry, the mission statement for the infantry is win the nation's wars. Pretty self-explanatory, right? That's a great mission. And then the vision, okay, is what it's going to look like for you to achieve success. What are the behaviors, the characteristics that everybody's going to embody for you guys to get there? So a quick example is like, we're an elite fighting force. This is if I'm talking to the infantry right now. Here's my vision. We're an elite fighting force ready to deploy in a moment's notice anywhere in the world. We're professionals. We're aggressive. We're problem solvers who stop at nothing to get the mission done. Right? In that vision, you're going to describe the conduct of the team, the conduct of like the behaviors of the team in order to drive success. Okay. So mission, vision. The third thing you need to do when you take command is create your philosophy, your core values. Philosophy and or core values. It's one thing. Okay. A lot of business owners, you know it by core values. When I was a company commander, I called it my philosophy. Okay. Your philosophy, is essentially all the things that you stand for and stand against. Okay. Could be like excellence, right? We stand for, you state that in your philosophy. All right. When you have a clear, mission, vision, and values, okay, you recruit team members who are driven by mission, vision, and values. Okay. A lot of sales teams out there that are trying to recruit, or a lot of companies that have sales teams, they're trying to recruit more salespeople. They're offering them money incentives. Guess what that brings? A person that's going to go where the money is. So your company needs to be clear about its mission, its vision, and its philosophy or its values, because that type of person is going to come over, a purpose-driven person. Okay. When you have core values or a philosophy that are ingrained in the team, the ecosystem improves, and therefore your players and teammates improve as well. What that means is that people, all of us, you yourself included, you rise to the standard of your environment. Okay. When I came into the Army, I did the 12-mile ruck march. It took me 4 hours. It was hard as hell. I had a 40-pound pack on my back on average. I'd be walking completely gassed by the end of it, but I performed to the level, the standard that my peers and that my team set for me. So I came in at 4 hours because they said that was acceptable. As my career progressed, I didn't even know that you could run or complete a 12-mile ruck march in under 2 hours, but I got around some guys in special operations, some infantry officers. I saw them do it. The next thing you know, I started working harder and I got my 12-hour ruck march time underneath 2 hours, only because my environment caused me to level up. Okay. And here's a fun fact, guys. I was a C player when I joined the military. A lot of people here, you guys are all listening, that maybe you have a friend that's a C player, or you're a business owner and you have a C player and you want them to become a B or A player. And you're like, this is impossible. It's not impossible, because I was a C player. I came into the military and I wanted to kind of hide out. I wanted to kind of drift when I came into basic training. I didn't want to be noticed. In fact, we did our first physical training assessment. We ran 2 miles around the track on like day 1 of basic training or whatever. And they were going to take your run time from that event and put you in a group that you ran the equivalent to. And I didn't want to run with the high performers. I said, that was too much pressure. I don't want to be around that. I said, so you know what? Let me just take it easy on this 2 mile run, and I'll set myself up to run with the B players. So that's what I did. On my last lap, I was running too quick. I actually turned around and ran backwards and jogged it out, kind of laughing, and then coasted in and finished my run in like 14:30 or something like that, 2 miles in 14:30s. But then that I transformed. The next thing you know, I max every single APFT physical training event that I participate in, and I go on to serve in one of the most elite units in the entire organization. So by, data or whatnot, how did I go from a C player to an A player? It's because as I started progressing, the environment required more and more of me. I got into basic. I showed up like a C player. It was a competitive environment that made me more competitive. Then I wanted to beat people. I started leveling up, and I did that with every assignment moving forward. That's how you guys are too. You always level up to the environment. Okay. So you can level up your C and B players by building a strong culture based off of mission, vision, core values, and philosophy. Now, when you get clear about those things, just because you create a mission, vision, and philosophy doesn't mean your job is done when you take command. Okay. Your job as the leader is as a leader, your spoken word is your primary weapon. Okay. Your guys are going to have their skills that they're required to go and do. You as a leader, your weapon is your word. It's what you say. So you have to take your core values, your mission, your vision, and then you need to speak it all the time. Okay. So whether it's a training situation where you're doing some training, or whether you're out actually executing a mission or objective, or your company is executing the plan, always reinforce what you're doing with your core values and through speaking it, right? So basically what that looks like, if you own a restaurant or a food prepping company and the guys kick ass and they have all the food ready on time and it gets shipped out all across the city, you sit down with them and you're praising them. Instead of just praising them, you reinforce what you did, what they did with the core values and the mission and the vision of the company, right? That's how you create the culture, through that repetition of speaking. That's your weapon as a leader. It's not the computer actually and the emails that you're sending. It's what you're saying on a regular basis. Okay. Culture is how you get your team to go above and beyond. All right. So for you out there that are struggling with people like doing the less than the standard, okay, the solution is that when you build a stronger culture, it works like gravity. That person that's not performing very well gets forced to the gravity. Okay. It's how you get them to go above and beyond. Here's an example. So imagine having a core value, a culture that believes in 110%, which is one of the ones we have in Conquer Academy. Okay. And then through repetition and through teaching it and reinforcing it, it becomes the heartbeat, the DNA of your organization. Imagine what they would do. Okay. When somebody doesn't want to show up or when they execute a task, they're thinking about that behavior and then they perform in it. I have some guys in Conquer Academy so on the staff side who are posting on their own about our company on social media because they know that's going above and beyond and they're proud to be there. Wouldn't you like it if every single person in your company was a marketing, was an ambassador, right? It comes down to the culture, culture that you're creating. I also have some people that are inside the staff side that are recruiting their friends to come into Conquer because they love it so much. And they know that that's going outside of the requirement too. It's 110%. If I go bring a cousin or somebody in, pretty cool. All right. So we have a lot to cover and I'm going to keep going. My point there is that your first task is to take command, mission, vision, philosophy, core values. And then use that to build your culture. Okay. The second task under Sullivan's Commander's Guide, you need to improve your team. You need to improve their battle rhythm, their routine, their schedule. Okay. Battle rhythm is like the rhythm in which we go to battle for a week. Okay. Or that rhythm that we go to battle. What that looks like is, in companies, it's like your sync meetings. Okay. So it's having a structure for all your meetings. That's a battle rhythm. In the Army, it was showing up to PT every day at 6:30, right? That's a battle rhythm event. Something we're all going to do. For families, it could be nightly dinners. Okay. So your second task, to create this high performing team is you need to improve your team's battle rhythm, these routine events. Here are some ideas that you can use to improve them. Okay. In a team or company, here's some meeting types that you can work on. Your Monday kickoff. Okay. Your Monday morning kickoff needs to have clear priorities. What are our top 3 areas that we want to focus on this week? And then what are our objectives for this week too? During that meeting, if it's in person, this works great. You can have everybody go around the table, brief you up on what they have going on in current projects. If it's virtual, it works too. The next battle rhythm event I would recommend is a Thursday meeting, which covers your short range calendar. As a company commander, this was my training meeting. Okay. Where I would talk about the training that we're about to do. So cover your short range calendar that talks about your glide path for the quarter. For your business owners, you could cover your OKRs during this. Okay. Are we on track for what we want to accomplish this quarter? You do that on Thursdays, right? You can obviously move these around based off of, your judgment, but I'm just giving you how I used to do it and how I do it today. Fridays, I would recommend two things. I would recommend a leader office call where you do an informal huddle in the office. If you're in a virtual setting, you have people show up anyway, and you just shoot the shit. What their job, your subordinate, your team's job during that meeting, what they're supposed to do, and they should do, is just tell you what happened that week. It doesn't have to be a formal agenda where you pick and poke and prod. Just make it very informal. Bring in your key leaders and just have them tell you what happened throughout the week. Okay. 30-minute meeting, make it fun. Another one is the Friday closeout. Every Friday, close out the team. You can do this decentralized or you can do it centralized, which means if I'm a company commander, I can have every single 130 soldier in front of me and I can close out the week, or I can empower my team, my leaders, to go out and do small meetings and close out for the week, right? Makes sense? All right. Another battle rhythm event is monthly. This one is probably one a lot of you guys are missing. And if you don't have a team, this applies to yourself. I would encourage you to put together a leadership development plan. Okay. If you're by yourself, it's a growth plan. Okay. Which means that once a month, I need to develop my leaders or myself, minimum. Okay. We used to do this as I did this as a company commander as one of my requirements. We would host a 1 to 2 hour leadership development class and teach something tied to the objectives that we're working on inside of the quarter that we're in. For example, like right now in Conquer Academy, I taught my team about social media. That's part of our leadership development program, teaching them how to be influential outside of their normal duties and responsibilities. Okay. So you should have a leadership development plan that's tied to your progression throughout the year. I would also make it fun too. Okay. I had some guys one time, like some junior guys, where I just had them teach their favorite subject at work one day. Hey, just come up here, teach. What it does for the junior guys is it teaches them confidence, how to stand in front of everybody and speak. All right. Then for those people that are more advanced, what I would recommend is a quarterly meeting where you do some type of celebration. Okay. Where you present awards, you praise somebody that represented your core value to the highest level. Okay. You can do this also with families as well. Works families, recognizing your kids once a quarter, right? For something. The school doesn't have to do it by himself. All right. The result from that, the result from creating and refining your battle rhythm is an increase in effective communication, because you have a flow for the way that the information is coming to you. And then also a battle rhythm makes things more efficient, and it's going to prevent burnout. So if you know that every part of your battle rhythm, you have all these meetings at the end of every quarter, one of your other battle rhythm events is to do a team vacation, then your team is going to know essentially where the end of the race is and where they can breathe, which helps them deal and manage burnout. Okay. All right. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit so we can stay on track with time. All right. The third task under Sullivan's Commander's Guide is you need to refine your mission planning process. Okay. For some of you guys, that's goal setting and achievement. But if you as a leader are stuck putting out fires all the time, it's because you're not very clear on how you receive a mission, or get clear about what your next mission is, and then disseminate that, and then have your team brief you up on how you're going to get there. Right. So what you need is a communication SOP. Here's how we're going to receive a mission, and then talk through that mission when we get projects and we need to execute. In the military, that's an operations order. It's our operations order process. You need an SOP for how everybody on the team speaks and talks about the missions that you're working on. Okay. In the military, it's the paragraphs are the situation. So if I own a restaurant company, I'm talking about, hey, it's the holiday season, man. It's Mother's Day weekend coming up. You're kind of describing the battlefield. That's the first paragraph. What's the situation? The next paragraph is what's the mission? We need to have a successful Mother's Day. All right. And then the next paragraph is the execution. Here's how we're actually going to accomplish this mission. And it's broken down by segments, like phases. Okay. Phase 1 is preparation, right? We need to get all the equipment for Mother's Day. Phase 2, you just break it all down like that by phases. And then inside of those phases, identify the key tasks that are going to drive success under that phase. Okay. I can give examples later. I'm going to keep rolling. If you guys have questions, I'll come back to it. Situation, mission, execution, and then sustainment, which is basically your logistics. Okay. So if I got a restaurant, maybe I need to shuttle around. I need trucks to finish out the Mother's Day event, right? What are all the logistics required? Okay. And then command and control. How are we going to talk to each other throughout this operation? So you need to have an SOP for mission planning, how you get shit done. It needs to be centralized so that everybody fights off of it. That's how I did high value target raids overseas. Okay. We had a speaking SOP, an operations order. After you've finalized the SOP, the way that mission planning should look is that the leader is going to brief the mission to the subordinate. Okay. So I'm the restaurant owner. I'm briefing the plan to the restaurant manager. And then he's going to take that plan. And immediately the next thing that he needs to do, which you guys need to have in your companies, is he needs to do a confirmation brief. Okay. So after he gets the mission, what's the confirmation brief? A confirmation brief is just briefly tell me what you understand your mission to be. Okay. He does that. You confirm it, answer any questions. It's 5 or 10 minutes. Then you tell him you want a back brief on how you're going to accomplish the mission in maybe an hour's time or a day's time, whatever you want it to be. But he's going to come back. He's going to sit down. He's going to brief you on the same communication tool you gave him: situation, mission, execution, sustainment, command and control. And then he's going to talk you through a plan, just broad strokes as a draft. And then he's going to talk in detail about how you're going to actually execute on the ground, and then answer some more questions. Once you approve that plan as the leader, his job is to go finalize it and then present it to everybody. Do an all hands meeting. Okay. Get them to go up there, get everybody on deck and brief the whole thing to them. What this allows everybody to do is go run decentralized. So your people aren't like using their judgment and causing fires when they're supposed to be like mission focused. All right. So I would highly encourage some type of communication SOP. I can teach op boards for like hours, so we're not going to bog us down with that. I'm going to keep rolling. The next task, your fourth task, is you need to refine and manage your leader duties and responsibilities. So as an individual, if I'm a company commander, I need to know what my daily duties and responsibilities are, my weekly, my monthly, my quarterly, my leadership responsibilities. Okay. Some of these, what I used to do, and I got this from Major Steele, he told me to take a whiteboard, put it in my office, list down all the things, the leadership responsibilities I should be doing on a regular basis. Okay. One of them was like family events. Another one was awards. Another one was, developing my leaders, like leadership development programs. So write it all out. And then as you're going through your daily rhythm, you're always looking up at that board to figure out which ones you need to catch up on. Okay. It kind of smacks you in the face and be like, oh, I'm falling up short on family events. Okay. So write them all out and have them at the forefront of your mind. All right. Your fifth task. This one's some advanced stuff here. Okay, guys, this one is very, very advanced. But basically your fifth task under Sullivan's Commander's Guide is to create and manage your METAL, Mission Essential Task List. Okay. So for your company and for your team, you should know basically 5 tasks, big tasks. They're basically core competencies that you need to be successful at as a company. So if I'm a light infantry company, then one of my tasks that we all need to be able to do is conduct an attack. Another one is conduct resupply. Okay. Big picture task. And then underneath all those, there are subtasks, but think 5 big picture tasks that we need to do. Business owners, maybe it's, we need to deliver on our product, right? It's a fulfillment related task. In a family, if you're going to write out your mission essential tasks list, you could write down, hey, one of my tasks is to be able to do family events successfully, be able to conduct conflict resolution as a family. We need to work through our problems. Another one, maybe it's maintain house cleanliness. Okay. So there's key tasks, essential tasks that help you fulfill your mission as a big group. All right. Number 6 is, your 6th task is manage and inspect how well the team is using your mission, vision, values, and planning tools. Say it one more time. Manage and inspect how well is the team utilizing the mission that we're doing, implementing it, reminding people, the vision, how often are they incorporating that into their briefs and what they're doing at the small team level? How often are they implementing the values, speaking about the values, praising people for the values? And how often are they using the planning tools that I've given them? You need to be inspecting that as the leader. Okay. That some of the things we talked about was the mission, the vision, the core values, the mettle, the battle rhythm. Okay. You're looking for all those things. All right. The seventh task is under the Solvents Commander's Guide is create a team of scouts through word of mouth. All right. So you want to build this high performing A team. What you need is you need your culture to find more people that fit that culture. Okay. And you can only do this task. You can only go and create word of mouth if you've started on the previous task that I gave you before this bullet. Okay. You can't go and start creating word of mouth if you don't have your mission, vision, and core values down. And if the team isn't bought into it. Okay. So you can only do this if you've started it. That stuff doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to have started those other tasks. Okay. Because when you get clear on those things, the mission, the vision, the philosophy, the battle rhythm, all those things, your team becomes proud that they're part of your culture. Okay. And that's a catalyst to cause them to create word of mouth. If your culture is chaotic, stressful, and they don't want to be there, guess what? They're not going to create more people and bring in more people. It doesn't happen. Major Steele, the best leader that I ever had in my life, he was a freak about recruiting down the right people. Okay. And I'll give you guys some observations that I witnessed while I was serving with some of the best on how they hire people. Okay. So these are general criteria for potential hires and even your friends. These are people, you could look for this in your friends. They must be team players and demonstrate it. Okay. Must be team players and demonstrate it. They must be athletic or value their health. And the reason why is because how you do one thing is how you do everything. Okay. Now, when you're looking for this, and if your health isn't that great, it's going to kickstart you to start getting better health. That's the great part of this. That's the ecosystem that you're creating. Okay. By the way, somebody who's physically like a disaster is usually an emotional disaster. So that's why the high performing teams look for people that are healthy. They're more in control typically. All right. These leaders that I was around in these teams, they valued integrity. I think that was number 4. Nobody's been perfect, but as long as they found somebody that values doing the right thing, boom, they want them in. They look for people that were self-aware. Can this person self-assess? Can they tell me their weaknesses and strengths, or are they completely arrogant and have no idea where they stand in life? Okay. They also look for what's their reason for doing what they do. Are they here for the money? Or are they here for the purpose? Okay. When I saw a lot of guys that didn't make it into the 75th Ranger Regiment because they were there for selfish reasons. And guess what? The organization picked up on that and they didn't want them. All right. So those are your 7 tasks under the Solvents Commander's Guide. Okay. For creating and managing A teams. Use these tasks and it's going to create a culture of, communication. It's going to cause your A players to even level up. It's going to cause your B and C players to start performing to a higher level. Okay. You're going to get more initiative. In return, if you're running a company, it's going to increase your bottom line, hands down. And you're going to get more time back because everything's going to be systemized. Okay. All right. Yeah. And families, if you got kids, creating core values for your family is paramount because you're going to basically build, human beings that are not as easily influenced by the world around them. If they know what they stand for and they know what they're against, right? Okay, guys, I'm going to open up for questions. I had some examples of how this has worked in my personal life, within the military, Conquer Academy. I'm going to go ahead and forego that stuff because I feel like I've made the point here and I don't really need to give case studies, so I'm just going to go straight to the question and answer. Is there anything that you guys have? I'm going to open up the Q&A box that you would like me to elaborate on in regards to today's talk. And then also, if you don't have any question, let me know. Give me some energy right now. Drop something in chat. Drop a comment in chat. Let me know how you guys feel about today's talk, about today's lesson. Some detailed stuff. You know, I had been leading teams formally for over 16 years. So there's a lot to teach, right? And I've been a leader my whole life. So it's like, what do I give you? What do I give you? But I really narrowed it down to the most important things, guys. All right. Art jumped in. He said that this was awesome as usual. Thank you, bro. Kelly says, know your medal. Official as fuck. Good. Blessing to be here. Many notes. Good, good, good. Always excellent material. You raise the standard of your environment. Absolutely. The B and C players remind me of Tim Grover's concept. Coolers, closers, and cleaners. Nice. Feeling motivated. Just took command of a combat engineer company. Excited to implement. Dakota, good deal, bro. Love it, man. Yeah, dude, I can really help you out. The philosophy for you. So Dakota, when you're in the Army gives you core values already. Your job is still do the mission, the vision, and do your philosophy. And I would limit your philosophy just to a couple key points. Like mine, when I was a company commander, was, hey, we believe in excellence. We believe in this one principle. Maybe you do 3. Okay. That feeds off of the values that the Army's given you. All right. I'm opening up questions now. So can you please rephrase bullet point 3 in mission planning? Yeah. So let me go. Oh man. Mission planning. Okay. So I think you're talking about back briefs. Yeah. So mission planning, you're going to do, when you do mission planning, your team needs to, I as the leader need to give the mission. My subordinate needs to give me a confirmation brief. Hey, I understand what the mission is. I get it. I comprehend it. And then, hey, you tell him, come back to me and give me a back brief, meaning like, give me a general draft of how you're going to accomplish this mission using the 5-paragraph standard operating procedure of what we put together. Okay. He's going to do that. You're going to bless off on his plan. And then he's going to go finalize it, get into the gnat's butt, and the details and the weeds of the plan, finish it, and then present it to everybody so everybody understands. Great passion. Cool, cool, cool. All right. We have to terminate an employee that we're struggling with for several months. She's been a part of everything for 2 years, struggling externally with this, even though I believe it's the right thing to do. Guys, I'll tell you something real quick about employees that are struggling. They know that they're in the wrong spot too. Okay. They know it and they're beating themselves up for being there. So your job as the leader is to you're not cutting them out. You're putting them somewhere, helping them get to a place where they need to be. Talent management is your job. And if it's not inside of your organization, it's outside in another workplace. Okay. So if you're going to cut her, help her get clear about what she truly wants and then help place her there. It'll help out. All right. What else, guys? Got it. Got it. Got it. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm just making a quick little shuffle here. There we go. Cool. There you go, Mark. There's your answer. All right, guys. I did have some people that reached out to me beforehand and asked if I was going to talk about, Conquer Academy. Essentially, there was individuals that wanted to hear it from me. So if you guys would like, I can go into that. I just need to know where to start. So if you want to ask it in the chat over here, the Q&A, I can feed off of that. Just let me know what your questions are and I can go into those details. All right. Oh, I will say, here's a word of caution, guys. I got to say this because I almost missed it. When you implement this checklist, okay, this commander's guide, you got to be really, really careful, because you're going to create people that do some pretty amazing things and some dangerous things. Okay. It's basically like taking the dog off a leash. All right. In fact, you know, I had one of my clients ran a marathon in a blizzard because she got to a whole nother level. I loved it. Another one, we had several members fly out here to Colorado Springs, basically on a whim, and climb a 14,000 foot mountain. One guy flew from Hawaii, from sea level, flew out within 24 hours. He was up climbing a 14,000 foot mountain because he's ambitious. He believes in himself. He's a go-getter. So you, as the new problem you're going to create with this type of culture that you're creating, is that you got to put boundaries on people. All right. One of the members, she ended up climbing Pikes Peak. And then 3 weeks later, she climbed Mount Kilimanjaro and found out that she had COVID while she was climbing it. And she still completed both. She still completed the Mount Kilimanjaro climb. She did the Pikes Peak one too. She just didn't have COVID up there. She developed COVID while on the climb in Kilimanjaro. So you got to really, people are going to become unstoppable, and your job is to pull them back and rein them back a little bit. Will's like, that dude must be crazy. John says, I'm interested in the program, need the 101. Absolutely, dude. I heard a little bit about you before, and I'd gladly go into it. So I'll tell you guys a little bit more about Conquer Academy specifically. All right. So basically, guys, what I do professionally with Conquer Academy is I coach in basically an environment like this, except for we do Zoom meetings, not webinars. So I have everybody show up with their cameras on, and I teach several times a month. In fact, actually, there's 7 calls a month. 3 of those are Zoom meetings with 30-minute lecture and then 30-minute Q&A. And I give direct solutions to those leaders' challenges and problems. I have a curriculum that I'm following. It's all based on creating culture, high-performing teams, high performance as an individual. So I teach all that stuff to them, a lot like today. And then I help them solve their challenges that they're going through while they're in the program. So there's 3 Zoom calls a month. I typically will do extra calls if there's extra weeks in the month. And I brought in guests before too. So I do that from time to time, but the cornerstone is me teaching. Like one of the guys that we had come in was a guy that I served with. He served in the asymmetrical warfare group, which is a very prestigious unit in the military. And he taught best practices from his time serving in combat. So that happens, a couple times, maybe a couple times a quarter or once a quarter or something like that. I'll bring in like a guy like that. And then additionally, I do Facebook Live Q&A coaching calls too, as an additional line of support. So somebody can always email me in if they didn't get a chance to answer or ask on the call, and I can go live on Facebook, answer the question right there. And then additionally, we have a private chat where the team in Conquer Academy is all located. And there's a lot of collaborations going on in there, a lot of team building, and I answer questions inside of that chat too. Guys, for you guys that are Conquer Academy members, drop some comments on Conquer Academy in the chat here so people can get kind of a feel for what it's like. And then I'll keep rolling. I think it was, who asked that question? It was John, right? Yeah. So I might actually bring somebody in. Let me bring somebody in. Jay, you mind coming in a little bit? Jay, I'll bring you in. You guys can hear from one of the members. Bring Jay in.
What is happening, Conquer Academy?
Let your audio get kickstarted. Hold on, dude. Get your audio set up.
My audio here?
Me? Check. It might be
Mike,
me.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Probably me. This happened before.
Because my mic.
Yeah, it is me. All right, cool. Go ahead, Jay, if you wouldn't mind.
Yo, what's happening, guys? No, hey, my pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Been a part of Conquer Academy, I would say almost a year now, if not maybe just slightly over. and just being a part of the community, and just having, especially other leaders that are like-minded and very driven, to be a part of is just an absolute blessing. Myself, I like the comment you made earlier about having your leaders be athletes. That's the background that I come from. I was a baseball, football player, captain of the teams, and very driven. And so if you're someone that is entrepreneurial, a previous athlete, someone that's looking for other like-minded individuals, then Conquer Academy is absolutely where you need to be. We're definitely striving to be the top 1%. I don't care if it's professionally, in your organization, or if you're trying to build a business, whatever you're trying to do. This has been absolutely one of the best experiences, and the consistent coaching. You're not going to get the type of coaching and the level of expertise that Jeremiah is bringing to the table in any other program. I don't care if it's Tony Robbins. He mentioned Zig Ziglar earlier as well. He basically takes all of those cats, and he mixes it into his own little Ranger Bowl, and he provides feedback every single week. Facebook, he's doing Instagram lives now. He's really pushing the button to pedal to the metal here, with providing extremely valuable information, and it seems like it's almost daily. I'm like trying to keep up.
I was telling my wife about that before I presented today. I was like, I did the thing. She was like, "What'd you do?" I was like, "It's where I over delivered." I was like,
yeah, I'm like, dude, what's going on now? Am I missing this call? Am I missing that call? It's crazy. So,
it's really just trying to take care of people. I appreciate that. And you're a busy guy too. You've done a really good job of attending the live calls, but we always send out the recording. Has that been helpful for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I like to go back, especially, on certain calls. I listen to them 2 or 3 times because, a lot of times I'm driving with my job. And so I can't really take notes effectively, the way I'd like to. So yeah, the review calls are extremely important because it allows you to sit down, take some notes, kind of get some refocus on what you need to do. So, and last thing I'll say is as far as the value that you get for the overall monetary dollar that you need to put up for this. I mean, I think it's crazy for folks that say, well, I can't afford this. I think, for those folks, you can't afford not to do it. So.
Oh man, I appreciate that, Jay. I love having you in the group, dude. You're not just a leader in your family and in your profession, but you're a peer leader, inside of Conquer Academy. So, somebody had a question for you, I think. Hold on. Also on the top, yeah. I'm gonna read through some questions. Josh is asking, where was he before Conquer Academy? That's a good question. So, what was life like kind of before?
Life was extremely. I mean, for me, I was in Las Vegas. I moved to Rhode Island. I run my own financial practice, but before Conquer Academy, I was actually with another firm who didn't have any structure, had none of this stuff. They have no tasks whatsoever. So I was very, very frustrated. Couldn't really find myself or what I needed to do. So it's kind of like we converged at the right timing. The universe put us together at the right time because I wanted to always be on my own, and I finally took that step to do it. And Conquer Academy gave me the confidence and the structure, not only on the classes that you put together, but obviously live as well to help me, take that next step. So I was doing financial planning for a larger firm, now doing it on my own, but I'm also a sales representative for another company as well. So I have a couple different hats. So it's provided me that structure.
Yeah, dude. And you're laser focused all the time now. I mean, there's ups and downs as you go, but at least what to focus on. Right. So that's good, man. I appreciate you coming in. I'm going to shift over to the next bullet that I got here, and appreciate you, dude.
My pleasure.
All right. Guys, so a couple things here, path forward. I can bring in more and more people if that's what you guys would like to see, but I know there's people it is Sunday, and a lot of you guys are, you got families to lead today, and you want to take care of those. You got things you need to execute on. I want to respect your time. So basically from here forward, there's a couple options. If you guys are interested in Conquer Academy, I got a couple paths for you. There's 3 options. You can sign up today if maybe you've done some research, or you're just not just done some research, but you like everything that we had to offer, and you're like, you know what, I'm already made up my mind. I'm ready to pull the trigger and move now. I love violence of action. That's one of my core values inside of Conquer Academy. Okay. Violence of action means that I don't wait, I decide and I go. Okay. And so what we've done for that is I have basically a link that you can click and buy right now. I'll drop it in chat. And it takes our price from 6,500 down to 4K, which is sweet. And if you've been following me on social, I know a lot of you guys have been following me on Instagram. I mentioned we're raising our prices. So after this call, well, after today, okay, we're going to raise our prices starting tomorrow. So if you guys want to come in, and that sounds like it's a fit for you, you can click the button, sign up today. That's option 1. Click and buy. I'll put the thing in chat right now, and then I'll tell you what option 2 and 3 are. So let me grab my notes here. So, yep, it's a fast action. Here you go. You just click that, fill it out. There's a couple options in there. Pay in full, knock out the 4K, or break it up into 2 payments of 2K across 30 days. Now, if you're like, hey man, I want to move forward. I'm committed. I need to work out a payment plan. Like I want to invest in myself, but you got somebody that I can talk to on the phone? Well, I got an option for you too. You can set up a time to talk to Franzine. She's available right after this. It's first come, first serve. So I'm putting her contact info right below that second bullet. Let me put that in there here. So Fran's calendar, Conquer. I'm not seeing any links. Let me try it one more time. Oh, where did you post it? All right. So I'm messing that up. Oh, here we go. I only sent it to the panelist. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm an infantry officer, not a webinar person. All right, here you go. All right. So there you go. There's the calendar for somebody on my team. You can schedule a time, go over some options, a payment plan, put that into action. And then here is the Act Now link. Yeah, sorry about that, Mark. Here you go. Act Now. Should have just came through. You got panelists and attendees. Yep. So Act Now, that's the click now and buy. The other one, the Conquer Calendar, you want to pick a spot on there and you'll talk to Franzine. She'll figure out your needs. She'll, figure out where you want to go, put a payment plan into place for you. And then the third option is that if you don't see a time on there that works for you, like maybe you got to get off the phone and you got your kid's baseball game, I don't know what it is, or like your house is on fire and you got to go put it out. First thing is that we need to still move forward. So you need to send me your cell phone number on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is @JeremiahSolvin. Instagram I'll put in here @JeremiahSolvin. Send your contact info, cell, i.e. cell. And I'll have Tyler reach out to you guys and set up a time to go over everything. But guys, you Conquer Academy members that are jumping in saying things, I really appreciate that. That's unsolicited feedback. Guys, I'm not one of these companies. There's companies out there where they try to force that stuff. This is unsolicited feedback from my members. Guys, I really appreciate you. Thank you. The last thing that I'll say is I did have some questions for business owners that wanted to bring in more than one person. This has been a common request. For you guys, I need to know more about your team's needs and how many you have, but I do have a package deal available. Okay, so if you got yourself and maybe 3 of your leaders that you want to bring in, book a time with Franzine as well. Okay, and just tell her, hey, here's what I'm looking for. Do a quick phone call with her, 15, 30 minutes, and then she'll push that stuff over to me. And then the next step is you and I and potentially her will get on a call and go over everything and work out the details. Okay. So I won't go into pricing right now on that because it's going to be kind of based off of what your needs are as the business owner. All right. But I will say it'll always be a win-win. Going back to the Q&A, did I miss anything that you guys needed me to hit on? Can you explain more about creating hunters? Yeah, Johnny, really good question. So when I addressed hunters, okay, what I'm calling a hunter is somebody that goes above and beyond, somebody that takes initiative and does more than required. What that comes down to is the culture that you create. Okay. If your culture is one where people clock in and clock out, they're not going to do it. So you need to focus on creating people that are going above and beyond. When I say hunters, it means initiative. If you're a business owner and you have a sales team, it means getting them to go and look for their leads on their own. Okay. If you're in the military and you have a platoon leader like I was, who you want him to go hunt. Okay. It's creating a culture where I go and find the bad guys that I want to go after. I don't wait for my higher headquarters to push them down to me. And the way you do that is by building out that culture, by creating those core values, by making the culture of the company so strong that it's a requirement that people go above and beyond. Does that make sense? So the bad mothers, when I was a Ranger, that was a requirement, man. There wasn't, average or below average performance allowed in the organization. It was the culture for us to outperform, over deliver, and hunt all the time. I do the same thing in Conquer Academy. Like I mentioned with my sales team, these guys are taking the initiative on their own, posting on social media, bragging about what they're doing, the work that they're doing in Conquer Academy. That's what you want as the business owner, right? So it comes down, the reason they're doing that is because we've put so much focus on the behavior of them as a team member that it drives the result. Does it make sense? So instead of tackling the task, hey, I want you guys to post on social media, I don't care about that. What I care about is them going 110% in whatever their part of their profession is, right? Doing above and beyond. So that's John. That's how you focus on it. And listen, I'm giving broad strokes right now. We can get really, really granular if you come in to the coaching or whatnot. But I'm telling you, like we're going to need to talk about this. My program's a whole year, guys. It's 12 months. Conquer Academy, the winner's table, it's 12 months. I cover a lot of shit in 12 months. So this is an hour of your time where I had the ability to pour into what I could, and appreciate you, John. Connect with me on Instagram too, by the way. I want to make sure if we haven't talked already that we do. How do you as a leader deal with your weaknesses and mask them from your team? This is a really good question, guys. I'm glad you asked that. While everybody else is picking out strategy sessions and signing up, I just got some alerts for some deals that went through. So welcome to the new guys that signed up. Really appreciate you guys. Way to take action. But David said, you as a leader, how do you deal with your own weaknesses and mask them? Here's what I'll say. This is a really good question, because a lot of times, it's as a leader, you need to be careful. You're human. You're going to have problems. And so bottling shit up is a really good way to destroy yourself. Now, when you're at work, it can be dangerous to pour all your problems in to the peers that are around you, because it can create, like if you're stressed and you're always talking to them about how stressed you are, it can make the organization stressed. Okay. So what I like to do is you want to share with your team and be vulnerable with them and not act like you're a perfect superhuman and bottle things up to a crazy level. But I like to control what I'm releasing to them. And then I find somebody that's a safe place in my life that I can pour into that has nothing to do with the company that I'm in. That helps a ton. I made the mistake of not doing that before, and it really messed me up. So that's why Conquer Academy is so good, because it literally, if you're a leader and you're dealing with work shit and you have no other leaders to talk to at work because you don't want to mess up the culture, you can literally talk to everybody inside of the program and get it all off your chest, and none of them are going to impact your company. You know what I'm saying? Or you can talk to them privately. It's a really good, safe place. So that's how I manage what's called the burden of command. Really good question. What do you teach in Conquer Academy? Yep. So I teach leadership. I teach high performance. I cover fitness from time to time. It's the foundation. But it's all designed to help somebody get to their goals. So whatever your focus is, I'm going to have you get clear about your big four. Hey, what are the 4 goals that you want to hit in the next 12 months? What do you want to hit in the next 6 months? What do you want to hit in the next 30 days? Okay. Reverse engineer them. And then we put a plan into place. All right. And then from there, I give you a 30-day sprint. I help get you to those 30-day goals. And then I help sustain you on that path throughout the entire year. So what that results in is like, I had one Conquer Academy member that showed up and she was an entrepreneur, had no teammates. At the end of the year, she had 15, and she had a company that was, her company was doing 10 times what she was doing at the beginning of the year. Okay. She was doing very, very well. So it's all based off of high performance to drive results. Okay. So if you want to increase your salary, and you're an employee, that works too. I had a guy come in, we got him a promotion. He was like, this is one of my goals. I mean, we had another one that she ended up buying a property and running a marathon in 6 weeks. So we try to take those things that you're working on and collapse them while developing you with leadership, high performance strategies. And then also the foundation is fitness. Like we do fitness a lot. So you gotta be ready for that. Yeah. Kelly says, if you want to be the top 1%, jump in and hold on. You don't need to mask your shortcomings, admit them. Yeah. So I would not mask the shortcomings, but also be strategic about kind of where you're putting them. Yeah, James, he's made a note. It helped me with his confidence and pushed him to the next level. Appreciate that, James. Yeah. So somebody asked what we work on. The answer was weight loss. Yep. Fitness, your job. Having tough conversations is something I help with a lot. I've always pushed Conquer Academy members to go out and do that. Because here's the reality with leadership and anything that you want in life. Okay. If you're just you're by yourself and you're trying to achieve some goals, what's stopping you? What's part of what's stopping you is that you're not having enough tough conversations to get to the goal, right? You're not asking the people that could potentially help you get there, like what they would do. You're not having those conversations that could enable you to get to the goal. You're too scared, too nervous. You don't want to ruffle feathers. Okay. So if you want a black belt in leadership, really in winning, you got to be able to have tough conversations. So we do talk about that a lot too. Okay. And then I help people with discipline, consistency. All right. I had a client come in that owned a business, and getting on social media was one of their focuses, but they could never get past like one day of posting. And when they did post on social, it was never their face. Next thing you know, they did 30 days of posting on social media, marketing their brand with their face inside of the picture. Pretty awesome. That same person lives in Australia and gets up at 1:00 in the morning to attend our calls because she loves them so much. Hiroshi, I know you know I'm talking about you. She's a badass. What client or member of the team do you have that'll get up at 1:00 in the morning when they don't have to? Pretty crazy, right? These people are driven. We want to be around that. I want to be around an ecosystem like that. And then Roger's bringing up a good point too that I probably missed. With Conquer Academy, you have access to Jeremiah. Yeah, you guys do. You have access to me all the time. A library of lessons that you can always go to and utilize. Yeah, so I have 32 pre-recorded modules on leadership, performance, goal setting, and achievement. It's basically what I wish I would have had as a new leader and winner. Like, hey, here's the personal development, goal setting, achievement, leadership classes, to be successful. Okay. So yeah, you do get that. And then the coaching calls on top of it. Yeah. So Roger said, I had some questions about jumping to a second career. He answered on a Facebook Live, broke it down in ways I wasn't able to. I was able to go back and listen to it. And the advice was honestly priceless. He didn't tell me what to do, but basically told me how to solve the problem. Yeah, exactly. I focus a lot on decision-making, how you make decisions. Okay. Or how your team makes decisions. Okay. A lot of times, like if you're the business owner on the call right now and you got 5 guys and you're like, you can't get them to make like good decisions. It's because you're not teaching them how to make decisions. You're just telling them what to do and they're trying to live up to your expectation. We need to teach them how to make decisions. Yeah, Daniel got the recordings, fits his schedule. He's busy, totally worth the money. Yep. How do I support businesses? Is it the same program as Conquer Academy? Yeah, so it is and it isn't. So what I do with businesses is it depends on the needs of the person. So I'm gonna default to putting them inside of the winners table. But if there are special needs, we'll just carve out what the requirements are and go through it. But ideally, I haven't come across anything that with businesses it wasn't a good fit for the winners table. But I am willing, I always have done stuff to supplement that coaching essentially. Okay, so that could be like maybe you got a team member or something that's in a tough patch. Okay, and they need an emergency call, right? I'll do an emergency call with them, sit down. I've done that for several members in Conquer Academy. It's outside the contract, but my focus is results. It really is. So if you have something that's outside of what I already offer, I just need to know what it is and then either tell you how I can deliver it with what I have currently set up, or we'll make a small adjustment. Pretty simple. The cost of not working on here's a thing I heard before that I really liked, guys. You build the people and the people build the business. A lot of people are trying to build the systems, processes, skills, but they're not putting money and time and investing into their teams. Okay. So if you really want your company to do well, you build the people and then they build the business. Best investment you can make. What are the values of Conquer Academy? Yeah, here, I'll show you. So here. What are your values inside of your company? So here it is right here. Here's our mission. Bring more good in the world and help other people achieve their best. That's what we do. We strive to be the standard bearers in discipline, excellence, and mental toughness throughout society. Team that cross-pollinates their leadership skills and character with the rest of the world. So I'm big on sharing what you learn in Conquer Academy with everybody else around you. And what we're trying to fix is, and as a team, fix the problem of poor performing people and poor leadership, man. Right? Like, so I have a client. Her name's Kaylee. I know I asked for her permission before I shared this. She's a drill sergeant. Okay. And I asked her, hey, how has Conquer Academy changed your life? She said, I used to basically get up out of bed and drag my feet, oversleep, just neglect work. I just hated it. I was constantly drained. And then she said, I said, what has it done for you? She said, now I'm getting up, no alarm clock. My feet hits the ground. I'm grabbing my coffee. I'm excited for the day and I'm kicking ass. And she got the drill sergeant of the cycle award 2 cycles ago, I think, maybe even consecutive cycles. So she went from being a low performer, C player, to A player and got recognized at work for it. Okay. So our job is to fix poor performing people and poor leadership and make them outstanding people and outstanding leaders. And we do that by changing one person at a time. And wherever we go, we believe that Conquer Academy it must be apparent that it is the best. So we're very competitive and we believe in essentially what this is we are creating the members of Conquer Academy are the Rangers of the civilian sector. They're the example. They're people that are problem solvers. They're people that are go-getters. They're mentally tough. They're the leaders you want in your formation. That's what we create, including yourself. Okay. Not just your team. All right. And then here's our core values: integrity, do what's right, and violence of action. Oh, sorry. Somebody just texted me. One of my teams texted me to congratulate Dakota. Dakota, good job. Way to act. I have other names here too, but guys, I'm not there's people signing up all over the place. So, Dakota, really excited. Way to go. Way to take action. So yeah, professionalism. That, by the way, Dakota, balance of action, the use of unrestricted speed, strength, and surprise to overwhelm and destroy the enemy, right? That's how we should be acting. Great job. Professionalism, we stand for professionalism, being professional at all times. Like, hey, I'm a dangerous mother effer, right? But I'm also a person that can go sit down. I can have dinner with you and your family, and I can have a good conversation, right? That's what we believe in. The harder path, doing the harder thing over the easy route. Okay. Bad mother mindset means being tough. Servant leadership means helping others. Honing your knife means preparing at all times. Excellence means going above and beyond, and 110 means, well, excellence is focusing on the detail and again, trying to get as close to perfection as possible, but not allowing it to inhibit you or like stop you, you know? And then 110 is given more than what's required. Somebody said, go into my credentials as a trainer. I did that at the beginning, so I'm going to skip over that. Appreciate that question though. Cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So guys, if you do sign up, what you have to look forward to ahead of you, you'll have a welcome call with somebody on my team. And then I do a welcome call once a week. So you and I will meet this week on Friday, go over your goals. There's going to be a series of videos that get sent to you, emails that get sent to you that summarizes everything. So you have it all in writing. And then, yeah, Friday we'll go over your goals, remove any challenges that are in the way, and get you moving, get you closer to them. Whoa. All right, guys, I think we're about to close out. Yeah, we are. So Orochi. Yeah, guys, welcome. Conquer Academy members, welcome Dakota. She's the name that I got just now. Dakota, yeah. Good. All right. Any last questions before we close out, guys? James, excited to have you too. Oh, credentials as an athletic trainer. Yeah, so credentials as an athletic trainer, I guess I missed that. So I have a bachelor's in kinesiology. I wrote a book, high performance book on mindset, fitness. I've been training people since I was 15. And what else? There's a lot. There's a lot with the fitness. I took a class of 40 infantry officers and we scored the highest in our entire class against basically over 100 other officers. We had the highest class average in terms of PT. I was the lead trainer. So absolutely. I learned more today than I have on pretty much any other online webinar ever. Good. Thanks for the information. I look forward to Conquer Academy. Good, Mark. Me too, man. Looking forward to seeing you there, bro. Hopefully you got a session in. Guys, you want to sign up to honor the pricing that we have. The pricing goes up tomorrow. You need to lock in a call. If you didn't pay using the link that I gave and you need to put together some payment plans, you need to book a session with Francine to go over that stuff in order to lock in the discounted rate. If you come back on Monday or Tuesday and you're like, I want to get it for Sunday's webinar price, it's not going to happen. So just make sure you book the session and that secures the price. That keeps us within our integrity. And just for the record, I've never lowered my price after raising it. Okay. So never have gone back and discounted stuff. I don't do that. I just find the model that makes the most sense, what's fair to everybody. And then as the value of the program keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, we've always had to adjust the pricing a little bit, but it's continuing to go up. So all I'm saying is that if you commit, you're being rewarded with a lower price. And you just need to book that session today with Francine. Okay. All right, guys are saying it's really helpful stuff. Oh, your credentials as an athletic trainer. Tell them that you ran 100 miles. I did. I ran 100 miles. 103 actually, to be correct. My question right now, guys, if you're like waffling, I'll tell you a piece of advice that a mentor gave me. A mentor told me one time, he said, when you're making an investment, right, this comes down to decision making. You need to have a checklist for how you make decisions. Okay. And I don't mean a belief checklist, which a lot of people have a belief about how they spend money and stuff. I don't mean that. I mean about making decisions. Okay. So I asked myself, he said, hey, when you're at the crossroads with an investment, ask yourself, basically, what's going to happen if I do this? What's going to happen if I don't? If I do this, am I likely to improve my situation? If I don't do it, am I likely to stay in my situation? And when he said that to me, I was like, it was like the simplest piece of advice, but I was like, I guess you're right. If I don't do this, I'm in the exact same spot. If I do it, chances of life getting better is significant. And I'm underselling right now. Like you guys heard Jay talk earlier about how much I deliver, but I'd rather undersell, over deliver than do the opposite. You see a lot in business and people fuck it up all the time. So at the crossroads, how do you make decisions? Are you just hesitating? There's this scene in Troy. You're going to be, excuse me. Yeah, it is. It's Troy with the movie with Brad Pitt. Okay. So Brad Pitt's in this ship with Agamemnon, right? I love this scene because it's about decision making. He's in there and it's basically after one of the battles, and he's in there with an argument with the king. Brad Pitt is with Achilles is. Okay. And they're going back and forth and they start getting kind of hostile. And anyways, Agamemnon is like, you know what? Fine, Achilles. You can go ahead. And they're basically arguing over whether or not Achilles should fight for Agamemnon. He's like, I'm not going to. He's like, fine, don't fight for me. I'll just take what's mine. And he pulls out Achilles' new girlfriend. And she's standing there with the guard. And the guard has like a knife to her throat, right? And Achilles looks over and in an instant, he pulls his knife out and he says, like, brothers, I have no arguments with you, but if you don't release her, today will be your last. And he starts to unsheath his sword, right? And then there's a slight hesitation and he pulls the sword all the way out and he says, decide. And he makes them decide in that moment's notice whether or not what action they're going to take. Okay. At that point, the girlfriend, she says, I don't want anybody dying over me. And when she says that, Achilles puts his sword immediately back. He didn't hesitate a single second. When it was time to fight, he pulled out his sword. He was ready to kill. When he knew that she didn't want it and he knew that he was going to abide by that, immediately puts the sword away. So he decides like this, man. That's what leaders do. So we need to work on our decision-making as a team. Yeah, you need to be strategic. You need to reduce risk. You need to be calculated, but you also, whether you're slow rolling something, you're being indecisive, you know what the problem is, whether it's indecision, or whether you've made up your mind. Well, it's not either or, whether or not you're being indecisive, essentially. That's up to you to decide. And this is what I like to say too, like everything in life that you want, it basically where you're at and where you're going is a series of decisions, right? The faster I can get through these decisions, the faster I can get to what I'm looking for. So if you want to improve your team, your culture, your family, like, okay, what decision do I need to make? Do I need to invest in myself to improve my family life? The answer is yes. Boom, make the decision. Next question, right? It's going to get closer and closer through that decision-making. What are the age range of your team members? Yeah. So you're talking about Conquer Academy members. Age range I got a pretty wide range. I would say, mid, I don't want to say average. So I got everybody from early 20s to, I got a guy that's closing on 60. But I would say the bulk of them are right in the middle of there. Like that's kind of a bell curve. I got a business owner that is a friend of mine. He just turned 40. I got a handful of business owners, handful of entrepreneurs, handful of I say handful, but it's basically equally spread. So the range is kind of varies. But here's the question about that. Here's my question to you about that is if you're worried about age, why is that? Can you not, this is just a challenging question. Please don't take offense to it. Do you have a problem learning from somebody that's younger than you? Okay. Something to think about, right? I have a friend, he coaches for a really, really well-known college football team. Okay. He's mid 40s. His performance coach, he has a coach. And that dude's 31 years old. And this guy, this guy that I'm talking about that coaches for the college, he's one of the best people in his industry. He's really good, but he's learning from a guy that's younger than him. So you want to challenge that a little bit if that's kind of a sticking point for you. All right, Mark, or I think it wasn't Mark, it was somebody else. Oh, we got some more people getting announced. Elaine, congrats. Proud of you. Thank you. Excited to work with you as well. I know we've been connected on Instagram for a while. About time. Today's the day, as we like to say, right? Age is just a kick in the ass. Yeah. We mold leaders at Conquer Academy. Absolutely. Yeah, Lane, congratulations. Way to act. I know that feels good. Guys, something happens when you do invest in yourself. Here's what happens. You're saying, I'm willing to bet on me. That's what you're saying. You're saying, you know what? Out of everything that's going on in the world, I trust me to get shit done. I can guarantee that if I do this, I'm going to show up and I'm going to perform. Basically what happens is you create confidence in yourself. So you're already stoking the fire, so to speak, right? You're already leveling up. So really cool to see. It feels really good. I invest in myself all the time. There's always that feeling of like, man, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to spend the money. You kind of go through those like internal things, but fuck that. How I feel doesn't get to say what my decision is to move forward. You know what I mean? There's how I feel. And then there's what I know I need to do. Like I've been my time in the military and special operations, most of the time I was nervous as shit, man. But I didn't let that dictate whether I moved forward, right? Same thing. That's what we want to do here. We can have those feelings, but we're just not going to let them dictate what our actions are. Yeah, Warren Buffett actually said that. He said the best investment is in yourself for sure. I know everybody's probably heard that before. I'm just looking to answer any other questions that people might have. Guys, all right, I'm going to close out. So I'll put the link one more time. You guys have 30 seconds to grab this link. It's basically, here's the Act Now link. All right, there's the Act Now. And then there's, I need to talk to somebody. Okay. But that, and then number 3, send me an Instagram message with your cell on it. You guys will love it. Oh, Stefan, I just saw that you're on, dude. Nice, man. Okay, guys. I'm going to close out. If you haven't clicked the link, click it right now so I can jump off. But I know that you guys learned today. It was great presenting in front of all of you. I appreciate every single one of you. And I hope to see you inside the program. And I hope that you guys implement something that you learned today. All right. Keep kicking ass. And I appreciate all you guys. Mark says that anyone want to feel free to reach out to me on social. Mark, do this. Mark, do a story, do an Instagram story and tag me. Not a post, but it's Instagram story. And then the Conquer Academy members will be able to see you and they'll connect with you. Okay. Highly recommend that. All right, guys. Yeah, do that and it'll connect with you guys. All right, guys. I'll talk to you all later.